Hello everyone, this is Josh from Riscos and Wrenches back with another video working on my 1989 Firebird. And in this video we're going to solve something that has been haunting this car ever since I pulled it out of the field, which it sat in for many years. And that is the brakes on this thing. They do work, however on the front it pulls to one side really hard when you brake, and if you brake too hard it will lock up the front calipers, and well, it's just not a very good thing to do. Let me show you guys what I mean. See that it yanks really hard. I actually might have mixed it up. It might yank the other way. But basically what happens is, you guys saw right there, it yanks really hard to one side whenever you brake, which is not good. And if you guys look, right now, after doing that, the brakes are hanging pretty bad. So that's something I've kind of got to fix. It did run and drive without that big of an issue as long as you didn't get on the brakes too hard. But the other night, what basically happened is me and my buddy were out driving it, and we forgot there was a turn coming up. I had to slam on the brakes real bad, and it absolutely cooked out that side's caliper.
Hoss down, hoss down. The brakes that locked up on this side have literally always locked up. I thought it would clear itself out like an old caliper that just needs to be run a couple times. Focus. And it hasn't. Now I got to fix it because it broke. And when we locked it up, my buddy's workshop was right down the road. And he's like, oh, you know, they don't care if we go over there real quick and, you know, pop open a bleeder to see if it's the caliper hanging up, or maybe the hose is, you know, swelled up and not letting pressure back. So let's just limp it there. We'll crack open a bleeder and see what happens. And by the time I got down there, which is only like a mile or two down the road, this side was legitimately smoking. So I'm pretty sure I cooked the remainder of goodness out of this caliper, and now this side I think is the only one doing anything at all. So I went ahead and bought both brake hoses just in case it was a hose issue, and 2 rebuilt front calipers for this thing. Now, why wouldn't I just buy calipers? Well, hoses on brake lines are kind of a weird thing. If they get old and they swell up inside, they will let pressure through, but bleeding them back, you know, to release your brakes and everything like that, if they're swelled, sometimes they won't let all the fluid back, and that can be what is causing your brakes to hang up. So I just kind of bought everything in the front end because I figured I'd need it. So that's what we're gonna fix in today's video. It actually got so hot, it completely cooked my hubcap off the front of it. So that wasn't very good at all, but I mean, you know, what can you do? I already had one of the hubcaps fall off that I caught, and then the other one on the rear side, I didn't know it fell off. So I'm already missing a couple hubcaps. It's not that big of a deal. I've got one left, and it's on that side. So without me rambling along anymore, let's get right into it. Let's put some brakes on this thing and hope and pray that the parts I bought are correct and they solve our issue. And if I finish this in a semi-quick manner, I do have a hydraulic e-brake kit for the back of this thing. So if I finish it and it's not too hot and it's not too late in the day, I might throw that on as well, just to have, you know, a little bit of fun time. This thing right here is so remarkably low with the little bit different tire size than what it should have on it that I can't really get a jack under it. So I just kind of have to ramp it up whenever I want to work on it. And I do have jack stands. It's always a good idea to put things up on jack stands. Never really trust a jack and the hydraulics of it. It could leak down, you know, it could blow a cylinder. How these things work is they have a little thing in the back that when you twist it, it lets the pressure go. Those threads can strip out and they can pop out. I've seen stuff fall. Just buy jack stands. They're not that expensive. Or just throw a tire underneath it or something to catch it if it does fall. On and on and on. On and on and on. I'm semi-worried that I might have glazed the rotor on this side. If you don't know what that means, it means basically whenever you let your brakes drag for so long, it will smooth out the surface of your brake rotor. You don't want that. Your brake rotor is actually kind of porous. You know, it gives something for the brake pads to grab to. So I'm hoping I didn't destroy them too bad. We'll see, though. Okay. Ooh. Those brake lines are, Well, you know what I forgot to do? I was going to spray these things with, like, PB Blaster for, like, a week on end before I did this, but I forgot. So I hope that I'm able to get that brake line out of there. We'll see.
Let me show you guys what I got going on. So the only Allen head I have for these things is this guy, which fits right here for the bottom one, but the top brake line's in the way. So I'm gonna have to cut this thing down probably to about here, and I'll just use this little nub right here to go onto that bolt and take it off. And this will just be kept around with a piece of tape saying Firebird brake tool. I have the little nub. Yes! Yes! Let go! It's safe now. Let go. Let... Yes! Yes! I'm winning, you are not. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I win. Whew. My God. Bearing feels good, actually. No bad play. It rolls nicely. I'm going to go through, while I'm here, I'm going to grease everything that has a grease fitting on it. Okay, now to get that off. All right, so I have some good news and some bad news. I was able to get the caliper off along with the hose, and I was able to save the end. That thing didn't even break. I was able to get it off in one piece. And, well, whenever I ordered these parts from O'Reilly's, I took one of them out of the box. I went, yeah, that looks right. You know, I took pictures of this caliper. You know, it looks right. It looks correct. I didn't even take this one out of the box, and this is a rear caliper. I don't know why they ordered me a front left caliper and a rear right caliper, but they did. And they're not going to be able to have this fixed until Tuesday of this week, and right now it's the weekend. Normally how I record these videos is I record them on the weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I edit them, and then I throw them on the upload for Friday. Because my job, I normally don't get home till really late, and I'm kind of pooped. I normally work a 10 to 12 hour day, so I'm not going to come home and wrench on things. So probably not going to do the rear brakes today. But I will do everything else. I'll get this side buttoned up, and then we'll rip off the wheel on that side, pull the caliper off, pull the old hose off, get it all ready, so that way whenever that caliper does come in, I can just throw it on there, throw the wheel back on it, then we can take it for a drive and confirm that we fixed some good things, and that will be the video for this week. It's not going to be any fun time with the hydraulic e-brake. I guess that'll be a different video. Like I said, I apologize, but like I said, I work a lot of hours throughout the week, and I don't want to come home at like midnight or 11 o'clock p.m. and wrench on things. It's just not what I want to do this week. So without me rambling on anymore, let's throw the brakes on this side, pull off the rest of that side, get it all prepped and everything for the caliper, and then we'll pick it up in a couple days whenever that caliper comes in. Oh, come on. It's even the right damn thread. All right, so my camera overheated, so it stopped recording the last little bit of this side, but I have the new hose on there. I was able to save that piece, like I was saying, got the new hose on there, hooked it up to the new caliper, set it on there with the old pads. The old pads weren't worn or anything wonky, so they'll be just fine. I think later on down the road, I'm probably gonna put some slotted rotors on here and, you know, higher performance brake pads, but these things still have plenty of life left in them, so I'm just gonna run them for now. We'll just get this thing braking straight and braking right, not locking up, and then we'll worry about some performance upgrades later. But we got this side done, and then on the other side, just completed the same process. Got the old hose off there, put the new hose on there. The clip and everything didn't come with the new one, so I just zip tied it right there. All it has to do is hold the hose there so it doesn't go anywhere. So it's all ready to go as soon as I get that new caliper. All right, now that we got the brake situation done as best as we can for now, we're going to go underneath this thing and just grease everything. There is some clunking in this front end. I'm sure, you know, these ball joints and tie rods and stuff are old, and they're probably not going to come out of it completely, but I can go through and I clean up all these Zerk fittings right here. This is where you grease these things, and I'm just going to fill them all full of grease, so that way it'll at least help it a little bit. So that way, at least until I put new parts on it, you know, new tie rods, new, you know, pinion arm here, new steering rack, all that crap, at least until I do that, they'll be greased and not, you know, out of grease. Maybe that'll help the clunking a little bit.
Looks like this one up here has a crack in the boot. If you see a bunch of grease and, you know, caked up dirt and everything like this, that means the rubber is probably cracked and it's leaking grease out and dirt's catching it and making this clump. So this thing is probably out of grease. Like I said, I'm sure a ball joint or two is probably out of grease. So we'll just grease these things up and hope some of that noise goes away. And then we can do one other thing until that brake comes in. This sunroof leaks. It does not seal correctly. You can hear the wind coming out of it. I went and bought some window seal, you know, some of that adhesive stuff. We're gonna pop this thing out, throw a new seal on it, and that way it'll at least seal and not, you know, cake myself and any passengers in water whenever it rains. And then we're gonna rip this seal out of here and just throw some silicone on it just to stop it from leaking anymore. This seal right here keeps water out of here, and there is water in the floorboards of this thing whenever it rains, and it's not on the seat, so I don't think it's coming from the sunroof, even though that does slightly drip. I think it's just coming down this pillar right here and just kind of pooling right into the floor on both sides. So we're gonna rip this seal the rest of the way out and caulk it. So we do have a couple things to do, one of them being the seal that I've been meaning to do ever since I bought the car, because these things leaking can 110% rust your window channel here, and that will lead to bad stuff down the line. I've been meaning to do this, so I'm going to force myself to do it right now and just get it done so that way it doesn't hurt anything else anymore. All right, let me go get a grease gun and then we'll grease this front end and, like I said, do a bunch of other crap. Dad came in clutch. He had this fancy thing with the flexible hose on it. I was able to borrow it from him, so we can grease all this crap now. There we go. Yeah, I think every single one of these rubber boots are broken, but they are going to have grease in them, that's for sure. You ever see any rubber joints, tie rods, anything like that that look like that? They're bad. You need to replace them. That means, so that rubber is supposed to hold everything in there and it's supposed to bleed out at a certain spot. This is just showing that it is, they're cracked and they need to be replaced. But like I said, they're gonna have grease in there, so better than nothing. It has questionable rubber on it. Goop it. All right, we are done under here for the time being. We got all of these joints greased. They're all goopy, they're all greased. They're all probably happier than they were before. At least what I'm gonna tell myself to make myself feel better about it. All right, let's move up top to Hawktua. All right, let's move up top and let's do that window seal and sunroof seal and all that crap, and then we'll wait on these brakes to get here. All right, first things first, gotta peel off the Band-Aid and just rip the seal off the rest of the way. There ain't much of it left. Oh, that is burning the crap out of my finger. Oh, that is hot. That's very toasty. All right, cool. That window's sealed. Let's do the top one now. That's really hot. Let me go grab some gloves. Let go. There you go. There we go. Put the sunroof back on, squeeze it down, and let it squish down in the heat. All right, now we got a front window that's sealed and a sunroof that's sealed. So look at that. Now when the next time it rains, shouldn't get any water on the inside of it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up all this mess because it's like probably 90 degrees outside. I'm gonna go inside and enjoy the nice air conditioning. And then we'll pick this back up whenever we get that other caliper. See you guys in a couple days. All right, so finally that new brake caliper came in on this side. And yeah, that brake fluid is yummy, and it's obviously out on the front because the lines were disconnected and everything. So I am gonna suck out this remaining fluid for the rear lines here, and then we're gonna throw some new fluid in it. I'll probably at some point continuously flush this thing until the brake fluid's way cleaner, because that's pretty gross. Okay, we sucked all the fluid out, and there's like goop on the bottom. It's like it looks like it came out of like a radiator of a car with a blown head gasket. I didn't know the Firebird put the radiator right here. Goopy. Goopy. Down. Up. Down. Now let's drive it with just one of them bled. Let's make some progress, but move, like, go right back to square one. Yeah. You wear it?
Yes, down.
It is down.
What?
All right, down.
What?
Up?
Yeah, I said up.
Well, okay.
You said it was down.
Well, it was down, and then I pumped it again. Am I good to let it back up?
Yeah. All right, now hold it.
I'm holding. Oh! It's like the third time you've let it do that. Am I good to let it up now?
Yeah.
I'm not going to know what to do with myself with fully functional brakes on this thing.
Don't say that. They'll never function again.
I'm not going to know what to do with myself with worse brakes than when I started. Oh my God, you're using a chrome socket.
Yay.
Yay, no more hanging brakes.
Really hard though?
No, I very, very lightly touched them.
Jump on.
Oh.
It's releasing.
Oh, I'm releasing.
Oh, I was fed on that one.
Look at my one hubcap.
Blunk.
Yeah, right into the goop of madness. The goop of transmission fluid, oil, water, and brake fluid now. That's my elixir.
There was coolant in there at one point.
Oh yeah, there's coolant in there too.
I was gonna say the coolant out of the Buick was in there.
Yeah. The Buick, which is now pissing coolant everywhere. Guess where it's coming from? It's the elbows, but it's not a cracked one. He got aluminum ones, but the gasket died. Because he put radiator flush in it, and it went...
Yeah.
Didn't you learn that you just don't give a Buick maintenance? And they like it?
It had goop in the radiator, and it was starting to overheat.
Liberal. Alright, we got air in the tires because they were a little bit low, and now, look, hands off the wheel. Oh. Just brake straight and it immediately lets go. It's exactly what I wanted, no more brake hang. Alright, one more thing to do before we take this thing on a ride and test out the brakes is this coil. I bought a new one. Sometimes when you're driving on the interstate, this thing acts like it loses all spark. And, well, all spark reference, the Autobots and Decepticons. No, as I was saying before I brain rotted and went in a million directions, is, like I said, this thing sometimes acts like it loses all spark whenever you're driving on the interstate. This coil is kind of a pain in the butt to get to. When I originally did the tune-up on this thing, I was going to change it, but like I said, I realized how difficult it was to kind of get to. So I didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this new coil. I got it hooked up here. Looks like it doesn't have to be grounded. It's not going to hurt nothing. It runs just fine with it just hanging out like this. So I'm just going to zip tie this thing up where it's held up and out of the way. And, well, we should be good to take it for a ride and see how she drives. Self right in there. And then you can just zip tie to that. And perfect. Look at that. It's mounted beautifully. God, am I one great mechanic, I'll tell you what. Installed, and I don't think she's going anywhere. All right, let's take her for a drive, see how she goes. All right, first things first, let's see if she starts up any easier. That's okay-ish. This thing still does have a miss. I'm guessing there's some sensor somewhere that either rat chewed a wire on or it's old. It does have a check engine light every now and then. I need to get it whenever it does have that light and jump a couple wires and see how many times that flashes. On these OBD1 cars, you can get codes off of them. You just wait till that check engine light's on. You jump to pins somewhere in it, the different on every car, and your check engine light will flash in a code, and that's your code. It won't tell you super in-depth stuff like OBD2 stuff will, but it will tell you a place to start. I'll tell you what, I need to buy myself some like Ray-Ban Meta glasses or something.
because my beautiful GoPro mount I got going on here is not the most comfortable thing in the world. I'll show you guys up a picture here of what I look like. I look like an idiot when I wear it. It's right in the middle of my vision. I mean, it doesn't block it. Well, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't pull left or right anymore. Before, I forget exactly which it was, but you braked and it would yank one way, but when you were driving, it would pull the other way. So I'm guessing on one side it was always hanging just a little bit. On the other side, the brakes were working way more aggressively than they should. We'll go on the interstate here, take it a few exits and see if the mist is gone with that new coil, and we'll test out the brakes. And when I pulled out of the driveway there, normally when you pull out of the driveway in the morning, it clunks real bad in the front end whenever you turn the wheel. It didn't do that, so us greasing it really did help the front end on this thing. Yes, my oil pressure gauge is still all over the place. Doesn't idle perfectly. It's still got some things that need worked out, but man, is it a hell of a lot better than what it was. Oh yeah. Already at this speed, the dash still does shake a little bit. It's got a little bit of a shake in it somewhere, probably in the front end, a wheel bearing or something. But at this speed before, it would have been shaking everywhere. It was way, way worse. So we made a hell of an improvement already. Yeah, it drives pretty darn straight. It was way worse before. Before you couldn't let your hands off it, it would drive you off the road. So my thought is, one of those brake discs was probably slightly warped, and it was the brake calipers themselves were probably dragging just a little bit, and it was kind of shaking the front end. This right here is normally a hill this car will gallop on. So let's see if it gallops again. If it gallops, we know that coil didn't fix the issue. If it doesn't gallop, it's probably the coil that was cutting in and out and killing our spark. I don't feel it. I don't feel it chopping out anymore. Maybe that coil was the issue. Yeah, see, there's the check engine light, and it's probably going to die on me, which it did. That is one thing this thing does do. After driving it for a bit, it will not idle. Sometimes it'll die. All right, real quick, we're going to get up straight, and we're going to give this thing a good brake test. All right, and brake. Oh, beautifully straight, and it didn't pull. It's letting go. Beautiful. It still does miss, and like I said, when you first get off the interstate after driving it at high RPMs, it will die. You give it a restart, and it idles just fine. I don't know what sensor that is. I don't know if it's a dirty intake or maybe a throttle position sensor. I don't know. I'm going to have to dig into it. But this thing drives so much better. It's not galloping anymore. It's not losing spark. It brakes straight. This thing is just really, really nice now. I'll tell you what, with the new brakes, the new coil, the handful of other things we've done to it, this thing is really, really nice. Let me roll up the window and see if the, oh man, I've never driven it with the windows up and that sunroof sealed. Now it's actually nice and quiet in here. All right, I think we got this thing good. This thing is way better than it used to be. I'm gonna head home. I'll drive this thing home and I'll film an outro for you guys. All right, and just like that, we've got another video done and some more upgrades done to the $500 Firebird that I pulled out of a field that has been sitting for many, many years. And honestly, with this only being the second video where I had to make an emergency repair, and the first one being the exhaust fell off, for driving it 30 to 40 miles back and forth each way to work a day for about 2.5 months now, this $500 car has been doing pretty good. This thing has been running great, minus the part, you know, where it dies after you drive it on the interstate. It runs a lot better now with that coil on it. I do need to figure out what sensor is making it not wanting to idle perfectly and, you know, kind of lug at lower RPMs. I'm guessing a throttle position sensor or a cold air intake or just something with these early generations of fuel injected that has to have a good sensor working, or else it's going to run like crap at certain RPMs. I just got to figure out what it is. But I mean, for the under $1,000 all in I've been into this car, it's a pretty darn good thing. With the brakes now, where I can actually use them without being in fear of them locking up and me having to pull over and wait for them to cool down and let go, this thing drives so much better now. It feels like a whole new car. I don't have to watch my speed wherever I'm going. I don't have to think about where's the next hill so I can downshift and not have to brake too much. It's just
so much better having functional brakes in this car, and especially when the whole thing, it's so much better now. The motor and the chassis are running so much better now. It's just, I'm super happy with this car. Every single time I work on this thing or drive it, it just brings me joy, and I'm sliding off the hood now. But without any further ado, that's where I'm going to end this video here. We got some good upgrades done to this Firebird. It's so much more of a daily driver now. Driving down the interstate, you can actually shut the windows, and it's nice and quiet on the inside. There is still a little bit of noise here and there. Like I said, there's probably a few door seals that are old and cracked and dry, and they're not sealing like they should, but it is so much better than it was, especially with that sunroof not making a bunch of wind noise. It has rained a couple times. Like I said, it's been a couple days since I started this video and ripped the window seal out and resealed it and the sunroof and everything. It has not had a drop of water on the inside, so all that water is gone. And well, we're getting closer and closer to having this thing just be a perfect daily driver and not even an okay daily driver with every single one of these steps we make. Like I said, I got to figure out what sensor on the inside of this car is making it not run perfect. And then basically minus the vehicle speed sensor or the wiring leading up to the speedometer making it not work, chassis-wise, this thing is going to be perfect. And then all we got to do after that is fix the HVAC system. Got to figure out why it's only blowing out of the defrost. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just the blend door somewhere is probably junk. If all else fails, if I just got to clamp it where it'll, you know, just blow out the vents and not the defrost for now, I can just do that. It's many months until winter comes along, and I'm not going to drive this thing in winter anyway, so I'm not going to get a defrost. And then we got to figure out what we're going to need to make this thing's AC work, because it's getting hot, and I would really like the air conditioning. And so the next time you guys see this thing, I don't even know what we're going to do to it. I don't know if we're going to do performance upgrades like putting that locker rear end in the back, a hydraulic e-brake just to make it a little bit more fun around the corners, or if we're going to fix up some cosmetic things, like I said, the dent and defender here, maybe some paint. Maybe we're going to work on the air conditioning. I don't know. I don't know what's going to come next. It's normally whatever is annoying me enough to the point that it wants to be my #1 priority on this car. My best bet is probably going to be getting this thing to run right, then fixing the air conditioning because it's just only getting hotter and hotter and humider and humider. It would be really nice to have air conditioning in this car. But you never know. The car guy in me can very well come out and go, I don't really care about the AC. Give me that hydraulic e-brake and give me some performance upgrades. And any car guy in the comments, I'm sure you get that. Sometimes you don't want to be comfortable. Sometimes you just want to have more fun. And other times you don't want to have more fun. You want to be more comfortable. It kind of depends on the day and what I'm feeling. So without me rambling on anymore, for real this time, this was Josh from Riscos Wrenches working on my $500 3rd Gen Firebird. If you guys like this car in particular, I've done a handful of videos in this thing. I have a couple other 3rd Gen Firebirds here on this channel. Check them out. I love these cars. They were realistically my first car. I had a 1986 Trans Am T-Top WS6 car and a 92 Bronco as my first 2 cars. Neither of them were really road ready, so they were both kind of my first cars. And if you're not that super hardcore into these 3rd Gen Firebirds, I've got a bunch of other stuff here on this channel. I think I've got like 27 vehicles at this exact moment, and I've had like 60 in my lifetime. I've got a bunch of stuff here on this channel. I've got an old Buick that I cut the roof off of and we take and repaint almost every other week. I've got an old Fiero I'm building. I've got a $1,000 F-150 on the other side of the road. I've got an RV that we drove home on back roads without any front tires. I've got motorcycle content. I've got old electronics content. I've got a bunch of stuff here on the channel, and I would much appreciate it if you checked it out. And while you're checking it out, if you do like any of it, click that subscribe button, click that like button on any of the videos you like. Leave a comment telling me what you guys want to see next. Any interaction really does help a small channel like mine. Now, without any further ado, I hope you guys are having a good day, night, week, whatever it is. I hope you guys are having a great one, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out and goodbye. I don't want to be the guy that, you know, filmed random children without their consent. That'd probably put me on a watch list somewhere. Yeah, that rear end's not really on there anymore.
Mr. nicknames his private member Lazarus because he has risen from